Every month we made the payment, and every month the balance barely moved. We weren't missing payments, yet somehow the debt refused to disappear. After a while, every purchase felt heavier because there was always this quiet pressure underneath everything. We couldn't keep living like that. People talk about debt payoff like it is mathematical, but when you are inside it, it feels emotional, heavy, embarrassing, quiet. Sometimes you stop checking the numbers entirely because seeing them hurts. And one of the hardest parts is this. You can be trying hard and still feel like you're going backwards. Minimum payments, interest building, unexpected expenses. It feels like movement without progress. That was our cycle, month after month. There were 3 specific changes that finally broke it. I will show you all 3. I remember this specific moment clearly. We sat down and listed every debt, every balance, every minimum payment, every interest rate. And for a few minutes, the room went completely quiet because seeing the full number all at once felt overwhelming. Part of me wanted to close the notebook and avoid it again. But avoidance was also the reason nothing was changing. And that night, for the first time, we stopped treating debt like isolated emergencies and started seeing it as a system. Here is what most people never say out loud. Debt does not just cost you money, it costs you years. If nothing changes, that balance does not sit still. It compounds against you quietly every single month. So the real question is not, can I afford the minimum payment? It is, what is this debt actually going to cost you by the time you are done if you keep paying it the way you are paying it right now? That is what changed for us. And it starts with the number I'm about to show you. This is not just our story. With high interest debt, minimum payments can leave the principal shrinking very slowly, which is why balances barely move even when you pay on time. Carried debt keeps compounding, meaning later usually becomes more expensive than now. This is not a discipline problem. It is a structure problem. And structure problems need a structural fix, not more willpower. On many revolving credit accounts, making only the minimum payment can stretch repayment over many years and cost hundreds or even thousands more in interest, depending on the balance and interest rate. Most people think debt keeps growing because of spending. Sometimes that is true. But often, debt survives because there is no clear direction. Money comes in, pressure appears, urgent things get handled, and whatever feels loudest in the moment wins. So debt payments become reactive instead of intentional. That was us, completely focused on surviving the month without realizing the system itself was keeping us stuck. The first shift was emotional. We stopped asking, how long will this take? And started asking, what system can we actually repeat? Because motivation disappears, especially with long debt journeys. But systems survive bad weeks. The second shift was this. We chose one debt to attack first. Not all of them emotionally at once. One. Before that, every payment felt invisible. Money went out constantly, but nothing ever disappeared. The first debt we cleared was not the biggest, but seeing one balance finally hit 0 changed our belief completely. For the first time, debt freedom stopped feeling theoretical. It felt possible. Here are the 3 changes, in order exactly as we made them. Change 1. Face it. Every balance, every rate, written down in one place. No guessing, no avoiding. Clarity feels painful at first, but confusion costs more long term. Change 2. Stop the leak. This was the hardest part emotionally, because when pressure hits, new debt feels like relief. But you cannot drain a bathtub while the tap is still running. Most debt plans quietly fail right here. People focus only on payoff, without fixing what keeps refilling the debt. Change 3. Attack 1. Tax refunds, side income, small wins. Focused, not scattered. When that first debt disappeared, we rolled the payment into the next one, then the next. Not just the balances changed, we did. The first time we saw one balance hit zero, we just stared at it. The outside of our life looked almost identical. But that moment changed our confidence more than our bank balance. Fear slowly started losing its grip. Same job, same house, same routines. I remember the first month we realized we were no longer surviving paycheck to paycheck emotionally. Not because we were rich, because we finally had direction. Proverbs 22:7 says the borrower is servant to the lender. And when we were deep in debt, we felt that weight constantly. Not just financially, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. That is why this journey mattered so much to us. Not because money is everything, because freedom matters, stewardship matters, peace matters. And little by little, through consistent, faithful steps, that freedom started returning. Everything we teach on MoneyMap comes from lived experience. We are not teaching from perfection. We are teaching from process. And here is something worth remembering. The 3 changes I just walked you through, visibility, closing the leak, one target, work for more than just debt. You will hear us come back to this exact framework in future videos on saving and on investing too. If you want the shortcut version, save this video now because we will reference it again. Your action step this week: list every debt, choose one target, and make one extra payment toward it this week, even if it feels small, because small, repeated direction changes things faster than occasional motivation. And the next video matters a lot, because once debt stops controlling your life, the next challenge is making sure lifestyle inflation does not quietly replace it. Subscribe so you do not miss it. And tell me in the comments, what debt payoff moment felt hardest for you? The beginning, the waiting, or staying consistent when progress felt slow? Until next time, be faithful, be intentional, and remember, the plans of the diligent lead to profit.